And for your office is just to be paper, or like where you keep the coordinators and desk work and office
Yeah,
stuff,
monitors.
monitors,
Monitors.
and bring everything to them.
Monitors is the hard part because if we start getting, like, we have 4 studies now, but we're gonna have 7 soon. They're gonna want to start coming. Like, even if you're only enrolling in 5 of them, that's 5 monitors.
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah. So. And we can't put them in our current room. I mean, we were showing the attic. We can do that. So we're here with Anna and Alexandria, and they have a startup research clinic. What's it called? Oak?
One of a kind clinical research center.
One of a kind.
So One Oak for sure.
Oh, that's what One Oak is.
Yeah.
Clever, right?
One of a kind. Okay. And where are you guys located?
Paradise Valley, Arizona.
That's right behind Scottsdale. And they came all the way down here to Yuma to tour, and we're gonna hopefully network, share studies, things like that. So tell us a little bit about your background, like both of you guys.
Okay, so I've worked in research for 11 years-ish. We're going on 11 years, I think. Started off in psych research, and then got as far as I could being a coordinator back in the day. You had to be a nurse to be a coordinator, so I went to nursing school.
But in Arizona, in Phoenix the whole time?
Yeah, this was in Phoenix. And then went to nursing school, did some critical care nursing, and then
We probably did a bunch of the same studies then, because I started in psych.
Yeah, what year was that?
Did you do the CLEAR study with AstraZeneca?
Oh, I don't even remember.
I think the time is elapsed enough to say it. The CLEARs.
Yeah.
And then there was
We did a lot of AstraZeneca trials back then, and Sanofi, before it was...
probably did some of the same studies.
Probably, yeah.
I remember that Sanofi one too. There was a schizophrenia.
Yeah,
Sanofi.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It was schizophrenia for Sanofi. Yep. Anyways, did that, went to nursing school, did some critical care nursing, and then research just sucked me right back in. And so now we were at Dr. Manning's site for allergy, asthma, immunology, ultra rare disease, and that's how I met you.
Oh, you were working together.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to do your own site?
Well,
Because it's not easy.
Yeah.
People think it's easy.
it's not easy.
I try to convince people not to do it. Every day we have a phone call with somebody who wants to start a site.
And then you turn them away.
I try to, but if they still want to, then I'm like, all right, it's, they have a chance maybe. But it's tough, right?
It is. It's definitely challenging, and it pulls on the heartstrings a bit sometimes too.
It's different than just coordinating because you have all the IT work and the HR stuff you have to worry about and all these things that I think I spent 2 days trying to get a printer to work the other day because there's no IT department to call. I'm like, oh, who should I call? Myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have all that support system for the silly little things that you don't even think about on a day-to-day.
Learning how to run the business part.
She set up a scanner
Yeah.
for her first day.
And you were probably like, this isn't what I went to school for.
Yeah. Half the things that we do aren't things that we went to school for, as is starting a new business.
So we started around the same time then. Like when I moved out here, it was like end of July. And then we started getting our first SV was October, and then we got activated in December for that, or November, December for that study.
Yeah.
The very difficult study that we still haven't screened or randomized anyone yet.
Right.
But now that first study is the hardest to get, then it gets easier. What was your guys' experience with that?
Well, the first study that we got was a ultra rare disease study in HAE. So it's a very low enrolling, not a high volume or high paying study, but you got to take what you can get, right? But we did very well in it, and that opened the doors for the next study with that same sponsor.
Is that the one you're going to Paris with?
Yeah.
What do we hope to go to?
Yeah. I think
just to go to Paris.
Yeah.
the thing that really helped was the site that we came from also did this rare disease. And so there was a lot of patient connections we built, and those patients are very attached to their coordinators and their care team. So there were ones that when we left, it was hard to get them to want to stay in research because they wanted to only see their same coordinators, not see anybody new. And it also meant, though, that when we started all these new studies, we had all these patients calling saying, I heard you left. What are you doing now? And we're like, oh, actually, we have a study you could do. And so it made it a lot easier than having to build your own database of patients.
And that same PI is our PI as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he decided to work with us at the second site as well as the site that we left.
we quit, and then he loved us that much. Yeah.
So did you guys know that you wanted to be like business owners?
Oh gosh, well, you want to tell them how the concept all happened?
Yeah, so we really wanted to grow. I was fresh out of college doing this, and Anna was in charge of the site, and we just both had a dream of getting bigger, growing, building a second site.
Mm-hmm.
So the dream was that she was building me up to be a site manager for the second site that she'd open
Or you
for the
had
clinic.
it all planned out?
Yeah, she did all this research of this is how we're going to open a second site. This is the person I want to run it. Everything's ready to go. I was happy because I was in a position where I had growth opportunity. And then with COVID and new hires and all this stuff happening in the clinic, and it just didn't happen. It was not pushed as the goal wasn't shared amongst everyone. Some people wanted to focus more on the clinic, and other
Less
people
on research.
and it just wasn't coming to us because there wasn't as many people who have that same dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were like, well, I need to grow. I can't just stay a coordinator forever.
What's the
Right.
worst
But
that can happen?
You could have been a CRA or
Yeah.
anything with your background.
I could have. So I came to Anna and I was like, I need somewhere to grow, whether that's here or somewhere else. I can't do this
Because
forever.
most people would say, okay, I'm going to be a
Yeah.
CRA.
Yeah, and I thought about that. I have an engineering background, so I thought about going back in engineering. And when I came to Anna to talk to her about it, because I wanted to be honest I don't want to just drop off the face of the earth and leave you guys hanging there without a coordinator, but these are my needs. And she was like, well, I kind of am feeling the same way. I want to grow too. So we're like, well, what if we did it ourselves?
Yeah, what if we just do this by ourselves?
Yeah.
Said that first.
She said it, and she was like, would you want to do it with me, though? Because I don't want to do it alone.
Yeah, I could
And
not
I
do
was
this
like,
alone.
well, let's
So
do
Anna
some
had it in mind
research.
for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to grow within that site. We were trying to make that site more profitable and bigger and whatnot, and they just weren't looking in the same direction.
Yeah.
So this was
It
the
happens a lot.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we ended up starting our own, and then we let our PI know that this is what we were doing. A couple days later, we talked again, and he was like, well, let's do this. Can I do this too?
Yeah.
So now he gets the same benefits as if we were to have opened that site under him with no risks this time.
So he didn't
So we
have to
take
do
all the
that
financial
investment, but
risks.
he still gets to be a PI and do all these studies and
And
have
he
his
gets
hands
to grow.
in the pot of what's going on in the
Yeah.
pharmaceutical
So
world.
it's you guys and him?
It's
As
just
the
us,
front-
but
He's just a
employed through us.
contracted PI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think he'll want to be a
I'm
owner?
well. Hopefully, one day this will be his retirement plan.
Because
And-
that's happened with our
Yeah.
PI, the one who, hopefully when we go back, I can introduce you to him. He's
Yeah.
busy right now, but he wanted it from the beginning, but he was like, let's see, he probably wanted to see if I'm like a con artist or something.
Oh, sure, yeah,
So now he's comfortable. He's like, yeah, let's do the LLC. And
yeah.
there was like no negotiations. It was already what we talked about. So he's down for that. And then our dermatologist, he wanted from the beginning to be 50-50 equity partner. So there's actually two LLCs there, but Yuma Clinical Trials will own all of them.
Okay,
And then with the specialists, we can make our own LLCs that Yuma Clinical Trial will own half or more. I gave him half because I think it's fair, but sometimes it will be fair for us to have more. And then so Dr. Smith, actually up to par, they'll get a piece of all of that too, just by being the first one and being the internal medicine
right.
doctor. So that's how I planned it, and it'll be interesting to see how you guys grow too.
Yeah, I think we're nervous about full partnering with a doctor just because
We don't
want to
anybody
run
else.
into the same problem that we ran into again,
Yeah.
where they don't have the same growth direction, and we're like, okay, we're ready, and they don't want to take that leap. And it just makes it more difficult to make decisions sometimes if you have too many cooks in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I am hoping that one day, he'll not want to be 7 days a week at his practice, and he'll just come and hang out with us and
But
retire with
he
us.
probably knows the other specialist, right? So
Yeah.
he can say, hey, Anna, go talk to this cardiologist.
Yeah, he will
They're
occasionally.
interested.
Yeah,
He's a very busy man, so
They all were.
he
all
does
are.
not get a lot of free time to text people and find people. He's a calling patients at midnight kind of doctor.
Oh.
Hey, just want to see how you're doing. And he has all his patients memorized. And
Oh, that is still the creepiest thing. You can
Yeah.
go to him and say so and so's name, and they just called about this. He's like, yeah, I know. I talked to him last week, and their kid is in this school, and this his
Yeah.
whole patient database. He knows
But
everybody.
your clinic is like standalone,
Standalone.
but you work with him.
And he has his own research under his clinic too.
So
that he
can the
runs.
patients be seen in his office, and then you guys just do paperwork in your office?
So
Or?
depending on the 1572. So there is a study that we can take patients to one of his clinics for physicals
close?
and whatnot. Oh yeah, we're like 15 minutes this way,
Oh,
this
okay.
way, that way to some part of where he could be. So
And
we
it's just
could.
you guys, or you hired somebody?
We did. We hired Michelle, and she.
CNA?
No,
Like this one?
No,
Yes,
she is. She had goals of becoming a CRA, and then life took a different path, and she just wants to get back into research some way. So she works with us part time, and she's learning from the ground up on regulatory.
Okay.
Yeah, she seems like
So
that's her
first day,
passion.
first day at the job, did you like have her file in the investigator site file? That's what Monica does. I don't know if you guys know Monica from the videos.
Yeah.
She first day, like when she hired new staff, the first thing they do is file things in their regulatory binder, because she
Yeah.
says that's going to help them learn like at least where things go.
Not first day, but first month, second week. Second week
week.
she was. First week
Second
is a lot more. Here's just some
Yeah.
introduction. Make sure you have all your credentials. Let's get all these trainings out of the
Oh
way.
man, Desiree's first day. This is your
We didn't
third
want to
week.
scare her off. We
Yeah,
wanted
we
her to come
wanted
back.
to
We
ease
really
her
liked
in.
her.
Desiree had no choice. That's
Yeah.
cool. So what are your plans like to grow it?
Oh, let's see. Right now, I think our focus is just to build the trust that we have with the PIs, and then with the sub-Is and grow them into PIs. And then we definitely want to look into family medicine practitioners as a full-time PI. And we want to look into derm for a PI. But, we have to grow them into those fields. We find it difficult to start a doctor who's never really done research, and getting them that first study takes such a long time. But if we can have them start as a sub-I this year and then next year get them to the PI level, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, and you don't have to take all those secondhand studies. You get a little bit more. You can be a little bit more choosy.
Yeah.
And that also just helps them understanding what even are they supposed to do. Because you can throw GCP training at them all you want, but if they've never touched research before, you're going to be getting all the calls of, well, I don't understand what this means. How does this work? How does that
called
work?
me. Yeah.
Yeah, so-and-so called me. Who are they again? How do they relate? So if you can start to get them as sub-I so they can see, oh, that's what the medical monitor does. That's what this person does. Then at least they have a little bit of an understanding of what, when you say in GCP, these are your roles, what that actually means. Because they can see another PI doing it.
And Anna, you negotiate the budgets. How do you guys get studies? We can network now that we know each other.
Yeah.
But
So
How do you
most
guys-
of our studies so far have come from our CRA connections. That they've recommended us for another protocol that was happening or something happening in the future. So that's been very helpful. And then we approached some CRO companies and just got into their database. We filled out our SIP
how did
accounts.
you get that first study though? Like, did you have a study
Oh,
already
yeah.
before you decided, like, hey, let's do this?
We had connections.
We had connections, and we just
Yeah.
started talking to monitors and saying, hey, we're leaving. You got anything?
Like they would come to the site.
Yeah, and we're like, just, we're starting up this other research center. If you have anything, keep us in mind that maybe this site can't do. And then we
Were
had
they
one.
helpful?
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
so
it all
helpful. That's
worked
how
out.
we've gotten almost all our studies. Is they were like, oh, well, my buddy over here has this study that your other doctor can do, but this doctor can't. And
then another part is that first PI that we were mentioning that we worked for before. Their site would get an opportunity of a study, but their team couldn't handle it. Whether it was because they didn't have a nurse, they didn't have enough staff, or it was just a lone rolling study. And so instead of denying it, they would offer it to, well, what about the One Oak site? Dr. Manning can still PI there, see if they want it. And so we've gotten one of the studies that way.
yeah,
So
Awesome.
right now you have what, 3 study?
we have.
I brought our little handy dandy book. I don't remember.
Are you noticing it's like getting busier right now?
Oh yeah,
Well, yeah. All
Yeah.
those huge research companies are taking on all the COVID and the long COVID studies and whatnot, and there's nobody else to do everything else. We'll do
yeah.
everything else.
yeah. Throw
Yeah,
it
Dr.
our way.
Smith told us, like, no COVID. Unless it's long COVID, he's okay with it, but he doesn't want to do, like, anything COVID related.
We didn't have much interest. There's huge companies out there handling all of that, and there's all the little studies that
Well, that
are-
one site I told you about, they actually did, like, 50 sites for that study that the sponsor never paid.
Oh, wow.
Oh my
So
goodness.
they had 2 protocols, and they gave all the sites like both of these protocols, and they encouraged the sites to be super high enrollers. And then they just like didn't pay anybody. They ran they ran out of money.
And we've heard from some monitors that the COVID studies are just so pushed on. There's so much pressure for them.
So many
on
amendments.
the monitors, so many amendments, so many changes, because everything's constantly changing in COVID from what they understand. That the protocols are a mess. They're running out of labs just because there's so much going on that they can't keep up with the demand. And they're like, if you can, maybe stay clear of it till they figure out what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 4 actively enrolling, 3 that are in startup. We've been site selected. We're just working out all the paperwork stuff. 3 that we've been site selected for but haven't started any paperwork, and a handful of feasibilities that we've sent out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And who does the biz dev? Is it you, Anna, or you guys both do
We
it?
split it.
Yeah.
Do you just go on your like who you know as far as CRAs, or do you go on clinicaltrials.gov?
Oh, we do clinicaltrials.gov as well. Yeah. Like there's a sponsor out there that we have a connection with, and we just email her every now and then saying, hey, we saw that you're hanging out doing this protocol and it was just on clinical trials. Like, what is the likelihood that you're looking for sites yet? And then she'll just reach back out with a ETA or a plan of, okay, I'm looking to look for sites around this time, da-da-da-da-da.
We've done some like LinkedIn reach outs, just
On
hey,
LinkedIn.
yeah,
Yeah.
just hey, I see you're the global clinical trial manager for this study.
I got one for you
Yeah.
guys for a study,
Yeah.
and he's in Phoenix.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's good.
That's
he
close.
watches too. So here you go.
Oh, well, hi. We'll see you soon.
Why should they use you? Yeah.
Mm.
All right. Any advice for Desiree, brand new coordinator?
Don't give up.
Oh, no, she's not gonna give up.
Don't
She
give
just
up. Don't
started.
let it get too hard and just be like, oh, this is too much. Like, it's not. There's so much to learn.
Mine is be honest about how you're feeling. If you're like, I'm feeling overwhelmed, be honest about it, because it's so much easier to have your support system of your job help you before it gets too bad than when you're already in the weeds, you have way too many patients, you can't handle it, you're over your head, your data is starting to falter, and then you're trying to fix that you're too busy. It's not,
That's a good point.
yeah, it's not shameful or bad to say, hey, I can't do another study right now. I've gone to Anna before and been like, I need you to not give me any more studies for like 3 months and then I'll be good again. But
That sucks.
I need to get on top of it. And it does suck to tell your boss that, hey, I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to make any more money right now.
Anna hates that.
this was back when I used to work for her. Now it's a little
Well, then
different.
I would have to like take the study over for
Yeah.
a little bit and just wait until
Yeah.
she was better off and be like, thank God. Take
But
it
I was
over.
That's a
also
good
running
point.
7 to 9 protocols at a time.
But you were
and-
doing everything, right? Data entry.
No,
Not at that
a-
time.
Oh,
that
okay.
was when we were at the other place,
Mhm.
and so we had research assistant, we had regulatory, but
Finance
some of
person.
them were phase ones that
Okay.
were just very intense studies that took a lot of time. And if I would have waited until after I got all these patients enrolled and been like,
I'm
Anna,
drowning.
nothing's been
Mhm.
entered, nothing's been done, I need help, then it would be too late. So
Yeah.
pre-plan for things to get busy.
So related to that thing, so we were talking about Creo in the office, right?
Yeah.
It could be any source. We use Creo. Our first employee was actually not Desiree. It's this lady named Samantha. She was one of the best students in the CRC Academy.
Yeah.
And she's our virtual employee. So she does everything E-Reg. All I have to do is get things signed, and she uploads everything. Now Desiree is starting to do some of it. She does all the data entry.
She the one that lived on the convent?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really cool to hear her backstory.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she does trainings with them on Creo, but she's like our Creo expert. But she also, because it's eSource,
Uh-huh.
she can enter data, she can answer queries.
Oh, that's nice.
So Desiree's not doing any of that. It's just entering the Creo like source.
Yeah.
And then regulatory, like if it's something simple, she'll file it. But Samantha will like create the new study, create the source. So it's a little bit streamlined because we actually started with like electronic first.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that when we started here because it's easier to do that than to switch later.
Well, we have it from both sides. So the original clinic that we were at, we went from all paper everything to E-Reg system. And then when we started our site, we went right into the E-Reg system. And we use biooptronics from Advara. It's fantastic. It's a great system. They do offer eSource, but I don't know if I'm going to be brave enough to go from paper to e-source, but e-rag is, I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
It's so smooth, and we save so much space. And
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
she hates the idea of it, so I told
I
her
know.
maybe we go e-source when you take a step back from coordinating and when her and I are to the point where we're just oversight type stuff.
I was
Uh-huh.
afraid too, but
Yeah.
it's designed, at least Korea, I don't know the others, it's designed in a way to where it's very site friendly. So,
Yeah.
like you can choose down to the file level what you want monitors to see and what you don't want them to see.
How does it feel being in front of a patient, though, like with a tablet or
laptop.
computer in front of you? Like, some of our patients are very, you need to sit there and hold their hand and pat their backs.
No, it hasn't been an issue actually with the patients. Yeah, they think it's normal because they've never been in, like most of them have never been in the study. And even now, like when they're seeing their clinicians, they have their laptops out too.
Yeah.
I know when I go to my doctor, he's got his laptop out, so
Yeah.
it's no different.
I feel like there's just something more welcoming and inviting to a patient when it's just like this, like face to face, without having something in front of you that you're trying to click through and figure out instead of just jotting down notes.
But you can do both. So our derm, he doesn't want anything to do with Creo. So his stuff, we print papers for him, but it's not as much as our stuff. And then we upload those to Creo later.
Oh.
So in the Creo, in the eSource, we just put C paper source attached.
Yeah.
And then that's how we get over that, because he doesn't do it that way either.
We do have a sub-I that's a little anti-electronics.
Yeah.
So that would be interesting.
So you can do that. It's Creo's cool. Anybody want to get a hold of you guys? LinkedIn profile underneath the video and in the show notes.
Yeah, we'll send you all those links.
And then when I come to Paradise Valley, we'll do another interview there, like follow up and see what's happening.
Yes.
We're always go to Phoenix for some reason.
Hopefully, we're happy to have you guys.
All right, cool. We'll share studies, network, and nice to meet you guys. And LinkedIn. So everybody go follow on LinkedIn and connect. This industry is all about connecting. So thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.